is the provider in his relationship and is fed up with your wife's spending habits. Is she maxing out the credit cards? Is she buying many versions of the same handbag or the same outfit and saying she's got nothing to wear? Is she overspending on the kids? And basically every month the credit card bill is maxed out or just full of unnecessary items. Well, if this is your situation, this podcast is for you. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about if your wife is very frugal and she's underspending and what this means for your dynamic. Before we get into the episode, let me introduce myself. My name is Sasha Fedorovsky. I'm a men's relationship coach and the creator of the Mind Heart Method, which is the leading program for men to help you save your marriage in 90 days or less. You can, if this is you, if you're on the brink of divorce, if you'd like my assistance, I'd recommend starting by reading my free intimacy guide. It's the full intimacy transformation guide. You can see it in the comments below, or while I have availability, book a one-to-one relationship strategy session with me. So a little bit of information about myself and how I developed the Mind Heart Method, a program that helps men to save their relationship in 90 days, even getting back from the brink of divorce. My background is coaching men working in the medical space with men's specialist doctors, psychologists, and researchers. And I was able to pick the brains of all these experts, work with hundreds of men from different backgrounds, ethnicities, walks of life, to put it all together and to really understand what it takes for a man to shift, to transform, to understand women, and what tools are required to bring the balance back in himself and in his relationship. And this is where the Mind Heart Method was born. So after coaching many private clients, what I realize is men need this information as soon as possible. As a man, you've never been taught about how to manage a woman, how to manage a relationship. You may have seen your parents in action growing up, but that was a generation ago. And this is vital information now, because what's going to cost you the most financially, emotionally, is divorce, right? Or even staying in an unhappy marriage. So there is data to say that men who are single tend to live 10 years less than men that are in relationships. And those men who are in happy relationships live even 10 years more than those ones in unhappy ones. But the men that live the least are the men who are not in relationships. So as a man, a relationship with a woman, particularly a happy and connected one, is so important for all avenues of your life, from your well-being to your health, to your abundance. So this podcast tries to cover as many of those topics as possible to help you in your relationship. The topic of money has been coming up a lot lately, particularly for my clients who are business owners and who are busy at work, growing their business while their wife tends to be doing the work of spending the money that they're making in their business. And I want to tell you, it's not because necessarily your wife is irresponsible, she doesn't care, or she doesn't understand the value of money. But what is going on is that she doesn't have a role. She doesn't feel involved. And so when you don't feel like you have a role of importance and you're making a significant contribution, then you don't value what it is you're getting. It's sort of like giving one of your children a role in a company or buying them a role in a company. They don't feel like they're making a significant contribution if they know that this is the case. And the same thing is going for your wife. So for you, your business brings you achievement, it brings you value. But for her, when you bring back the paycheck, it's only 1 point, right? It's the same 1 point after a while, after that level of stability and security has been created. There is an actual specific number of income after which the happiness level doesn't go up. And this is the same thing for your woman. She will count it as 1 point. right? So it seems like she doesn't value what you bring. She doesn't seem to value the money that you have. And so it seems like she is careless with it. But actually, it's because she's receiving something that she hasn't earned. And although being a mother and running a household is an important role, she may not be doing it in a way that's really equal to what she has to give. So if this resonates for you, if this is your situation, then the solution or the antidote to this problem of your wife overspending and maxing out the credit cards is initially correcting her. You must correct the behavior. You must have a stern and firm conversation with her, even though it may seem unpleasant and she may resist. And even if you've never done it before, you must have a conversation which provides some discipline. But the glitch to this is that most men will do this in anger, in frustration. You must do this being completely centered and emotionally uncharged. And you need to address it as a business matter. You may be also screaming in your business in the boardroom, but you can't do this. You can't do this at work and you can't do this with your wife because it's not going to be effective. So you need to come up with a plan. You need to come up with a strategy. And just like this was your teenage daughter acting out, you must take the same measures with your wife, right? You must provide the discipline. You must provide the understanding so this doesn't happen again. But this is just a small fraction of why it's happening and what needs to change. The second part of this is ensuring that your wife has a role, that you aren't spoiling your wife and giving into wife-pleasing behavior, because essentially you will be creating a monster. It starts with the spending. This is the first habit, but the next habit is an addiction of some sort, right? And shopping could already be an addiction, but the next addiction could be overeating, over drinking, over consuming on social media, any of these things. So you can't enable this behavior, and you must ensure your wife has an important role. Her role is valued within the household. And you must give her more to do where she feels like she's contributing. So we will never ever actually value what it is we don't earn. And it's actually taking away from somebody. And it's the same case with your children when you give them something that's already complete, when you take away their ability to create and their ability to earn. The final part of this issue is that the overspending is partially to do with your wife's lack of not feeling contribution, lack of not understanding money, or not getting any correction or discipline from you, because discipline also means love to children and to women. And I talk about this on my other episodes on why you must correct your wife and be firm in order for her to respect you and desire you. But finally, if your wife is overspending, if she seems to have no care, no consideration for the money, and she's maxing out the credit cards, and it's sort of, becoming quite a bad behavior, and it's really starting to show, then it's also a sign that you have excess abundance. There is excess energy, and chaos is coming, because your wife actually serves as a mirror for you and an alarm system. And she will give you a signal, if it's conscious or unconscious, that there is chaos coming. So this is a sign that you have excess abundance and you're not using that energy. You're not using it to share with others and to give back. So if you have a successful business or a thriving career, and you have an understanding that you are more abundant and more blessed than most in this department, then you must be giving back. And in a sense, this is like cleaning your money. It's not to say that your money is dirty or you haven't earned it, but on an energetic level, a man must always be contributing his energy for the sake of giving and the sake of sharing. So if your wife is maxing out the credit cards and there is abundance available there, but you can see it's going overboard, this is a sign for you that you must pay it forward. You must give your time, energy, or finances. I ideally all three of them, to contribute to a volunteering or a way that you're giving back and sharing your blessings, sharing your energy, sharing your knowledge. If you take all of these three actions, I guarantee this behavior is going to shift. Now, a little bit on the wife who is frugal. So I'll talk a little bit on this. This will come from her own underlying beliefs, her lack mentality, or her idea that she's not worthy. There will be a little bit of that, a little bit of childhood conditioning. But essentially, if you are the provider, if you are earning money more than enough and your wife is frugal, then on a deeper level, an unconscious level, it is a sign that she doesn't believe in your power. She feels there is a weakness in you, that this could disappear at any moment. And this is why she's fearful. So I want you to really feel into yourself. What part of you is weak? Where do you have fear? Where are you not giving your all? Where do you hold back? Are you not pushing yourself physically? Are you not pushing yourself in your business? Where are you not taking enough risks? Because remember, your wife is your alarm system and she's your mirror, and she gives you the signals and information. She's the first spot, the first stopping point where the world will talk to you, right? A higher version of yourself will speak to you and will tell you this is where things have to shift. And I guarantee if you start to notice one of these areas and you make a change, your wife will become more at ease. She will spend money with more ease. She will spend more money on herself to make herself more beautiful, more feminine, the house more beautiful, more feminine. There will be more feminine energy and more fun, right? This is how a happy wife creates a happy life. But not by giving into your wife's every demand, not by spoiling your wife, not by creating a monster, but by creating boundaries and by always using what your wife is doing, what your wife is saying that feels uncomfortable or unpleasant for you as a mirror, as a vessel for personal growth. Because essentially your relationship is your best vehicle for personal growth, self-actualization in all areas of your life, whether it's in your business, your finances, your mission out in the world, or just your personal actualization. So I hope that this podcast was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any other topics that you'd like me to cover. But in the meantime, if you haven't watched it already, it should be up here somewhere. I highly recommend you watch my free masterclass for men. It's a relationship success masterclass for men. I share with you my method, how I help my clients save their marriage and create a satisfying relationship.